memory context and placing memory in relationship to the universe, what I realized many years ago was that the thing that limits you is memory, and that the idea that we have of memory as a human being is in fact not of any value. I investigated things like the Silver method and various mega memory methods and so on, but all of them used a reference point, an allocation point that was based on some other structure in the system, like a name or an alphabet or a number or something. It was always using associations. By using an association, it was always like removed according to your structural design, your filing system. It's like an index system. It was always removed according to your index system and how specifically effective you would actually mark your index system. That's why many of your memories of your past that had some form of trauma or love or backchat or fright will have a more intense or more effective index system, and therefore the memory will be more pronounced, while the memories that you accepted as normal, that you did not index them well and they became part of your personality makeup, will be more difficult to find. So what I realized, and that was like in one breath, is that regardless of what one do, the memory is always available here. That means it is available within the context of your space-time. All you have to do is move into the exact same space-time position, and the memory is immediately available, and you don't have to remember it you don't have to make any effort for that. All you have to be is aware here, not in your mind, but physically participating, breathing within the context of the physical reality. Then the memory is available. So you're not remembering specifically what you did at a specific hour. That's irrelevant. That's obsession. That's system obsession. The only points I will make a directive pointed to remember is if it is relevant to, for instance, a point in the system like the PO box number or telephone number, but only the ones relevant. The rest is irrelevant. At all times, not occupying the physical body with mundane, useless memory information that makes your functioning here obstructed. Just like a computer, the more memory you keep on board and the more you accumulate that memory, the more you're going to have problems with backchat. The more you're going to have problems as you grow older, that your memory is going to give in because your body is being used to store the information instead of live within the context of this world. So what I did is, no matter what the memory was, if it comes up, I'll just forgive it and delete it. And I found a fascinating thing. I started realizing the application of leaving the memory in the context of the space-time event. Say I was in Durban and the point happened, and say Talamon comes walking through the door at the airport. My memory is constructed in that space-time linked to Talamon. So I will have no vision, no visual of any person in how they look. I can't even describe them to you. It's really irrelevant. But the very moment they walk into my space-time, all context of space-time of that person becomes relevant. And I can cross-reference all space-time because that person carries within their context of space-time all the memories of their existence, and within that I can establish their complete life from birth to death just by spending time with them, because they're carrying all of them with them. So it's grasping this principle that will accelerate your ability to work with information exponentially, and eventually will become part of all human beings. When you are referencing it in the universe, that means you can take knowledge and apply it in the same way. You place the knowledge space-time specific and then establish the movement of that as how it would exist in this world for real, and you can establish whether the knowledge is in fact real or not, whether the knowledge in fact is possible or not. Same with the UFO. I mean, you have to realize when a UFO enters the atmosphere, comes within the forces that is relevant to the Earth, there are certain laws, and as we have established, for instance, is that you don't find these bloody things. They can't make these things effectively because of the forces relevant here, and nobody gets away from Earth because Earth is based on the most fear. You are existing here because of your fear, and how the whole system that exists here is based on your fear. All your budget is based on fear because you don't trust. That's the problem. Now, what is trust really? Trust is that everyone in this world must, where they are living, do what you do. That means do what is best for all, without you having to in any way be involved in it. And that is what we're busy establishing. A network of trust where you are me and I am you. And wherever we are, we'll do what's best for all. And when we meet, when we may never meet, we are immediately equal in our application. Now we have established equality. Obviously, then a system also that manages where I am and where you are, our lives in a form of equality that's best for all. So if we swap position, our lives don't change. You are not suddenly poor and I am suddenly rich, or you are rich and I am poor, which is what the old incarnation and soul system used to do. You know, you swap positions and you have different lives, and therefore, foolishly enough, one will say, but you know, I have this good life and it's okay if my next one is bad, because I mean, I have had a good one and it's your turn, and shit like that. We don't have to live like that. All we have to do is change the context of our system, that it is equal everywhere, and then to distribute the resources necessary equally, and to develop a work or a labor force and a logistics force according to that. And that is simply information management. We have the technology to do that. Now what we need to do is establish the integrity of the human system, the human mind, to be one that can be trusted at all times, and currently that doesn't exist. So first of all, we are establishing the core group that can be trusted in every way, and that stands together, and from there it'll slowly but surely integrate more and more people and assist them to become trustworthy, purified, effective human beings. Within the context of that, you can already grasp the extreme magnificence that flow from that. The most difficult part, obviously, within this is your memory system and the relationship to your desires, where you have created memories that you would like to satisfy without the context of the physical space-time, if it in fact worked like that. So it's very dangerous to go into delusional possessions around sex or relationships or things like that, because your memory you've constructed is illusional. That means it's not real, and it has been manipulated through information. The information is linked to your control and obsession to make sure you do not ask questions about your reality, and it's based on other people's desire to make money, and they don't really care how they do it, whether they insert and influence your memory system by inserting half-naked woman into it, so that every time you see it, you are obsessed to buy it because there's a little bit of panty showing, or there's something happening in your memory construct that activates your desire, your want to immediately satisfy yourself. And many of the buying, that means when you go and buy something, you are in fact having sex because you're satisfying your sexual obsession, and you buy according to how something is shaped. The bottle is shaped in a particular way that takes on the form, kind of, strange enough, like the body of a woman, for instance, and therefore a male will buy the bloody bottle and then drink the content and like the content just because it looks like a female body. But I mean, the shape of that is not the exact female body, it is just the roundings. It is fascinating how extreme the illusionary memory construct is. Anyway, so there you have some context to memory, and obviously we'll be working with this extensively as we are correcting the back chat, because your back chat in essence is essential to establish to what extent you are dishonest, and to actually within that context develop your self-honesty. If you can't stop your back chat, it is inevitable that it will possess you. That's how we've arranged it, so you become demon possessed and you will start influencing and divide people around you and try and make yourself the center of the universe instead of working in a way that is best for all, and you will eventually be exposed no matter how you try and hide your back chat, because you will have nasty thoughts that eventually will jump out of your mouth, or you'll have obsessive arguments or debates or all kinds of stuff. So we're very nicely positioned at this stage to establish with an early warning system through the way we're using the internet. Those that are not ready yet for a process, we get rid of them, get them out of our way, ban them because they're anyway fake. Everything they have is fake. They need to rebirth and restart. Therefore, you don't want them to use their old account from YouTube when they come back. You want, in essence, them to start a new account, because the old account is carrying memories from their previous life, and they have no capacity to deal with the memories. So if you bring them back in the old fucking name, they are fucked. Within days, they are back in their old cycle because the memories take over again. So everything we do is extremely specific. Understand, take part in it, get yourself used to it, because you have to work and act in ways that is best for a person. When you get to a point of transformation, and I'm not saying that all people will always do that, I'm saying this is the common way things are happening, and some, very few, will be able to transcend it. Very few, but many, unfortunately, will deceive in ways that won't show immediately. You have to be strong enough to draw the line when the line must be drawn, and not to get yourself hooked into a lengthy story where eventually, after years, you realize, oh my God, I must let this person go in the way that they now believe they exist, because they are existing as their memory and they're unwilling to actually change. So there's lots of things that one is going to learn to do effectively to bring about a better world for all. Therefore, we are looking at a very lengthy process. If we didn't do the lengthy process and decided that in the beginning, most of humanity would have died. Virtually all of them. Now we'll have a reasonable amount of human beings that will eventually make the process. Not all, obviously, there's still a lot that will die. Not much we can do about that. We had to draw the line somewhere. They were in an infinity cycle where some was on the up and some was on the down, and some were placed in such atrocious positions that there is nothing that can be done, especially when it comes to the education, that their minds and their physical body has been placed in a form of cryogenic fucking stuckness where there is no possibility to intellectually develop them effectively to be able to understand what we're busy with. There's nothing we can do about that. That will change in the future. You can already see whenever a child is exposed to the proper stimulus, they develop effectively and become an effective member of the human race. So there are things that we will have to consider. These things are happening at the resonant level. You're not involved in that. I'm not involved in that. That is happening at the person's own resonance level. It means the assessment of what to do, how to do it, who stays, who goes, that is in a constant breath by breath evaluation. And remember that free choice, that means the choice who you become and whether you actually remain as a living being in the universe depends in fact on you. And you have to eventually, if you can't make that choice in full awareness as an expression of will within the context of what is best for all, obviously that decision is made for you, and that would imply that you will not survive death. You can only survive death if you are in full awareness, absolutely in standing as what is best for all. If you can stand before the universe in every aspect, not as a being of love, but as a being that is equal to everything, that makes always the decision that's best for all, no matter what the system. Unless you can stand in that position, you have no life yet. You are not rebirthed. We are, with Destiny, busy with the training of that. We are coaching you how to handle life in every aspect of it, so that you can transcend all levels of everything that can be thrown at you, and in fact rebirth yourself. So, therefore, it is essential that you really give yourself the opportunity to make the most of this life.